Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I hope all of you are having fantastic Wednesdays, wherever you may be across this great country or this great land. Appreciate all of you downloading and listening to yesterday's show and sharing all the different segments with Peter King. I think it's one of our most listened to segments of all time. Individual segments that we can directly track in the millions. Peter King being wiped out. I actually felt a little bit bad for Peter King, even though he's been insulting me for years and taking shots at me for years. The last several times, anytime he posts anything on social media, every response is about him getting destroyed by me on the show yesterday. If you haven't listened to it, search it out. I put out the clips. You can go read it, listen to it at Outkick on YouTube. You can listen to it on Twitter. You can go listen to the podcast. It's out there. Like I said, millions of people have now heard that beatdown that Peter King took, which might make it the most listened to segment we've ever had in the history of Outkick. And that's why it went viral and so many different people shared it. So a lot of different things to get to today in the program. We're going to talk about the latest on the coronavirus. Things continue to look positive. California versus Florida and how they're both responding to sports and why this is a significant decision. Odell Beckham Jr. on the trade block. The Fauci, Dr. Fauci says sports can return how, and the PGA, according to Golf Digest, will come back on June 11th. Somebody just said, did you get a Trump check, Clay? No, I make too much money. I understand that a lot of checks are coming out. I think that the federal government has done a pretty good job of getting them out to everybody, but my understanding is that my income is too high, not to brag or draw attention to myself. I will not be getting a check from the government as a result. So I think that I don't get anything in terms of getting a check from the Donald. But I hope a lot of you do, and I'm happy that a lot of you are going to be able to get hooked up in the meantime. All right, several different things to get to. Coronavirus update. A couple of different stats that I think make sense as you go forward and break out this situation. In the United States, we have had 10 straight days of lower new daily cases since a peak on April 4th. Deaths popped up yesterday, but we are headed for an 11th straight day of total new daily cases diminishing. And as a result, it is going to be, I think, pretty fantastic as we go forward there to see the curve continue to bend. Again, 10 straight days beneath the number that was set, the record of new daily cases that was set on April 4th, and we're declining precipitously in a big way. So that is the story there. Very good news. If you are in the sports industry, I think you should be paying attention to this. By May 1, we're really going to be in a very good place in this country. And as we move into May, I think all these cases are basically going to disappear as you look at the forecast. In Europe, why do I believe that? Europe, the bottom has fallen out of the coronavirus, and they're already talking about coming back with the Bundesliga in Germany, with Serie A in Italy, their soccer leagues. Wednesday numbers that just hit. Italy, 2667 new daily cases, the lowest number in Italy since March 13th. So in over a month, the numbers now below where they were on March 13th as they were going up. Spain, lowest number since March 20th, and Germany with the lowest since March 17th. Some people out there, don't we have the most cases in the world? Wait a minute, don't we have the most cases in the world? Does per capita mean anything to you? Does per capita mean anything to people with a functional brain? We're a lot bigger than most countries in the world. We have much lower rates of infection in this country than exist in Italy, Germany, Spain, the United Kingdom, France. All of the biggest countries in Europe have massively higher rates of infection as a percentage of their population than we do. If we combine Western Europe and compare it with the United States, which is a much more similar comparison of the total population, they dwarf us. So use your brain, understand how numbers work. It's not a complicated thing, but just try it for once. Try not to embrace the fear porn that is making so many of you so insanely dumb. I'm going to have to block this person because there are some people out there who just want to run around like their hair is on fire. It's crazy to me how many people are obsessed with being terrified. Look, here's the deal. If you are terrified that you are going to die of the coronavirus, you can get under the covers in your bed. You can cuddle up there with your favorite binky and your favorite stuffed animal, and you can swaddle yourself there like a newborn baby and never, ever leave your bed again, and you probably are not going to get sick. But guess what? You're also not going to have a job, and those of us who understand that the world requires risk are going to open our door, and we're going to exit the homes and go back to work, and that's what this nation needs to do. The numbers are declining precipitously. By May 4th, we need to be back to work. That's where we're going. There are 30-plus states where there's almost no virus whatsoever in those states. I am more scared by far, if you want to talk about being scared of something, by what the unemployment results are going to say tomorrow than I am by anything else that's out there. Over 20 million people are going to have lost their jobs when the new unemployment results come out tomorrow. That is much more terrifying to me than anything associated with the coronavirus. The economic impact from people not working from the coronavirus is more significant than the economic impact is going to be from people getting sick from the coronavirus. So just so you know, that is where we are headed right now, all right? I want to talk about decisions. This is an interesting decision. Somebody said death is more terrifying. Everybody's going to die, bro. Everybody's going to die, Corona, bro. I don't find death to be that particularly terrifying. Maybe that's just me. I know that I'm going to die. I'm 41. I hope I can make it to 80 plus, but I know I'm going to die. Unless you think that you are going to be immortal, you are going to die too. So death doesn't really scare me. It's inevitable. We know how the story ends, with us all dead, all right? Not trying to be a downer here, but unless you think you're going to vanquish death, unless you think you're going to be the first person to ever in the history of man avoid the Grim Reaper, then good luck, my man. But otherwise, you can't live your life afraid of dying, because if you do, you've already died. Hate to get all philosophical on you here, but if you're the kind of person who sits around all the time worried about dying, then you've already given up on life. Why do you want to live an unfulfilling life? I've had a fulfilling 41 years. If I get taken out tomorrow, I'll think that I had one of the greatest 41 years that anybody's ever had in terms of fun, in terms of productivity, in terms of grabbing life by the, I don't want to say balls because that doesn't feel right. Grabbing life by the throat doesn't even feel right anyway. Grabbing life and enjoying it and dancing a great salsa while having a margarita in my hand, that would be me. All right, let's talk about the different ways to respond. California versus Florida. This is a big deal. The big debate now is going to be, how in the world are we going to end the shutdown and go back to work? Okay? Right now, there are two sports-related storylines that are out there right now. There is California and there is Florida. All right? If you look at California and you look at Florida, this is not a difficult proposition to break down. All right? California is in the bed with the covers over their head, shivering and terrified over what the outside world can bring. Okay? Gavin Newsom decides, I don't want the UFC to be able to exist in my state. I'm not going to allow them to fight on April 18th. I'm going to put pressure on Disney. We're not going to allow the UFC to take action. Conversely, look at what Ron DeSantis in Florida did. They allowed WrestleMania to go on in Florida, and they just labeled the WWE as an essential business to allow them to film live. And as if that were not enough, they also in their press conference said, hey, Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, we'd love to have you here in Florida. Hey, NASCAR, we'd love to have you here as well. Not with crowds present necessarily, but we want the economic activity. We want the entertainment. We want to be able to get things done. We are pro-business in the state of Florida. We're the opposite of California. And you know what Florida did? The UFC is talking about getting an island and Dana White says he wants to fight by March 9th. May 9th. Florida actually tagged him on Twitter, the exact opposite of California, and said, we're open for business. You don't need an island. Come here and put your fight on in this location. That, to me, is a perfect example of what states should be doing. Try to be proactive, get out there, and make smart decisions about bringing back sports and other business in your state. We talk a lot about essential and non-essential businesses. I got a crazy idea for you. Every business is essential for the people who own it and the people who work there. We got to get everybody back to work, not just non-essential and not just essential businesses. Everybody's got to be back. But to me, what Ron DeSantis and Florida are doing is the exact opposite in the world of sports as what California is doing. This is a no-brainer to me. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to Greg Abbott, another Vanderbilt law grad like me. The state of Texas is kicking everybody's ass when it comes to per capita death rate, all right? They are better than any big state. You hear everybody saying, oh, Gavin Newsom's been phenomenal. Let's talk about Andrew Cuomo. You know who has done the best job running a big state in the entire country and almost nobody is mentioning him? Texas. The coronavirus has been afraid of messing with Texas, and Greg Abbott has done a fantastic job, which is why if California is going to be as ridiculous as they are behaving right now, and if they are saying, oh, we're not going to have any sports until 2021, which is what they're talking about, it wouldn't surprise me at all if in the NFL, for instance, the Raiders have already moved to Vegas. Wouldn't surprise me if the 49ers, the Rams, and the Chargers look to the state of Texas to play football down there for the next year, because you know who's going to be playing football in 2020? Texas. With Greg Abbott's leadership, good for them. Odell Beckham Jr. supposedly on the trade block right now. The question for Odell Beckham Jr., and this is a big one for him, is what direction is he going to go? Is he going to hop on the Antonio Brown Crazy Town Express and he's just going to ride off into the sunset doing all sorts of ridiculous things, having gone from the Giants to the Browns, never having won a playoff game, having, I believe, played in one playoff game in his career where he didn't have a very big game against Green Bay, if I'm not mistaken. That was after he made the trip down to Miami to hang out on the boat. Or is he going to put everything together and become a big-time playmaking wide receiver for the years ahead and not allow the drama to overwhelm him like the drama overwhelmed Antonio Brown? I don't know the answer, but the latest talk is that Odell Beckham Jr. wants out of Cleveland. Maybe they also want him out of Cleveland for the drama-related aspects. And as you break it down going further, I think this is a fascinating question to see what's going to happen there. The rumor was the Minnesota Vikings, who obviously have already traded Stephon Diggs. That would be a heck of a move to see how he would get along with Kirk Cousins. But Odell Beckham Jr. put a pin in this story as we are now 8 days out from the draft. The first round of the draft is on Thursday of next week. We'll see what happens. This is the biggest story right now in the NFL for a player under contract. Cam Newton, Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston, and Jadeveon Clowney remain the biggest storylines for still unsigned players that is out there. So follow along with Odell Beckham Jr. Props to the PGA. According to Golf Digest, it hasn't been officially announced yet, but word is that the PGA is going to be back on June the 11th. That is fantastic. As one sport comes back, other sports will follow in their wake. The PGA, the first one to be reportedly back. MLS also looking into it. You can easily take care of golf without having to worry about the same spread and concerns health-wise. So this, to me, is a no-brainer to bring back golf, get it rolling. We've got a lot of different places where everything is set up, and I think it is going to be fantastic. I cannot wait to get rolling when that is all said and done. So that is a storyline that is worth following. Congrats to the PGA for getting back in action as soon as that's actually going to be on the radar there. On top of that, Dr. Fauci is finally coming out and saying, hey, we can play sports. We just don't have to have fans present during the summer. To me, that means Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, MLS, NASCAR, all of you need to be ready with a plan by May 1 because these numbers are collapsing in a hurry. And as a result, this is an easy decision to make. By May 1, you need to have a plan in place to bring back all these different leagues. Don't plan on fans being present for the summer. That's fine. I'm not a big guy about needing fans to be present, at least initially. We'll see how the numbers look. We'll see how the growth charts look. They're falling off the face of the planet, I believe. So by the summer, as we move into the summer, I think fans will be possible. But go ahead and get set. You got to bring them back. You got to get spring training going for baseball in May. You got to get all the NBA players back in shape. Same thing with the NHL players. Plan on May as the time to get ready, okay? And then by June 1, boom, you can be ready to go. By June 15, whatever the start date is, there you will be, and you will be ready to roll, okay? Not a difficult decision to make at all. Football's going to happen, I believe, in the NFL and in college football. Good move, by the way, in this scenario that I think makes a lot of sense. Major League Baseball players are a part of a new antibody testing that's going on to try to figure out how many people out there are able to actually have this virus that we don't even know about. Potentially 80% now, according to some recent numbers, of people out there have the coronavirus, never knew they had it. They've got the antibodies in their blood. I think the data is going to reflect that this thing is wildly more prevalent than the number of people who have tested positive. And so as a result, props to Major League Baseball for being a part of this randomized trial so we can get a better sense of how many people actually have this virus in general. To me, that is information that we desperately need in order to be ready going forward. All right. I love all of you. My name is Clay Travis. This has been Outkick the Show. I believe we hit every subject under the sun. Encourage you to still check out the radio program, which is dominating. We'll be live 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. 300 plus affiliates in all 50 states, plus satellite radio, Sirius XM channel 83. My guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me. This has been Outkick the Show. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. Let's roll, boys. Sports back sooner rather than later. The Corona Bros are falling down in agony over how much we are improving around the world on a rapid basis. Love all of you. This has been Outkick the Show. See ya on the radio tomorrow. Kisses. Love you. Thank you, Facebook. See y'all.